It's the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 179. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. We're absolutely excited to have new Golden Gopher quarterback Drake Lindsey make his first appearance on the Go Gopher Podcast this week. The heir apparent at signal caller for the Gophers, he spent all of his freshman season learning the ropes from Max Brosmer, who's now in Minnesota Vikings training camp. We'll find out all we need to know about Drake Lindsey this week on the Go Gopher Podcast. The Go Gopher Podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today. Hey, make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union's also a big sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast. Life math is complicated, and Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union makes it easier with local financial experts available to help in person or virtually. Go to affinityplus.org/Go Gophers for more info. The Go Gopher Podcast is also presented by onX Maps. Find out how to download the onX Fish app for free by listening to the Go Gopher Podcast. We're podcasting episode 179 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. We invite you to subscribe to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to do so. You can also go back and listen to the Go Gopher Podcast from previous weeks. Last episode, for example, we spoke to one of the all-time great Golden Gopher quarterbacks, Tanner Morgan. We got an update on what he's up to now, and it was a fun visit and worth going back to listen if you missed it the first time. This week, we're still talking football and still talking quarterback with new Gopher QB Drake Lindsey. He'll join me next.
I'm Clay Geary, walk-on turned scholarship wide receiver for Gopher football.
And I'm Ben Utek, U of M alumni, Super Bowl champion, and Tony Dungy Uncommon Award winner.
We understand championship culture, which is why we're part of the True North family of companies.
True North invests in only elite teams, like the champion team at Sunbelt Business Advisors, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and our diverse family of independently owned companies, visit TrueNorthEquityPartners.com.
Keep the good times rolling without the regrets. Giggly THC beverages are your go-to for bold flavor and smooth vibes. Zero alcohol, no bad decisions. Just THC-infused cocktails, seltzers, and teas packed with natural ingredients and performance-boosting superfoods like ashwagandha and ginseng. Find Giggly at over 500 locations like Total Wine, MGM, and Cub Foods, or shop online at giggly.com. That's GIGLI.com. Ready to upgrade your drink game? Use the code Giggly North, as in Giggly Talk North. Giggly North, GIGLI North, for 50% off your first order. Giggly, sip smarter, feel better.
It's episode 179. We are talking Golden Gopher football this week. It's getting to be that time. Next week, it'll be Big Ten Football Media Days in Las Vegas. This podcast will come to you from there. Right now, we are in the Bierman Athletic Building, just off from where the practice facility is, and it's internal media day, and we get to talk to the new Gopher quarterback, Drake Lindsey, and his first appearance on the Go Gopher Podcast, hopefully the first of many happy occasions to chat here. Good to see you, sir.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, too. Appreciate it.
So you're starting now with Media Day today and some of the new things. You're a redshirt freshman. You were Max Brosmer's backup, attached to his hip last year.
Yeah.
You're starting to now see now it's a quarterback. Everyone wants to talk to the quarterback. It's the highest profile position on the team. Are you liking it so far? Really kind of day one of looking now ahead to the fall camp in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. It's been really good. Today was the first day of getting to do the media stuff, so talking to the media and that kind of thing, seeing what that world's like. But no, it was all good. I had some warnings from the coaches, things to talk about, all that stuff. So I felt pretty prepared going into it, and I felt like it went well. But yeah, it's a new world when you enter that role for sure.
And I think by nature, good quarterbacks have a pretty good grasp of what they should or shouldn't share. You got to be pretty smart to be a quarterback, so most of them can talk well, and you're fitting right in already.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, so I'm going to start with this one. This is going to sound like a weird one. We had PJ on the podcast in May, so this was a little after spring ball was over, and it was pretty clear what was going, where we were headed with the quarterback position. And I said, hey, and he talked a lot about about you. We know he likes you. We'll talk more about how that recruitment and all that stuff went a little later on. But I tried to coax out of him, are you going to be the starting quarterback? Is Drake, and he just, I think it looks to be the foregone conclusion, but he just isn't quite there to make the announcement yet.
Yeah.
So take me through your mindset on that and why you think your head coach is holding off on that.
I think since he's been a head coach, he's always made the thing is spring ball sets you up to win the job, but fall camp is when you solidify it. And I think that goes for every position. He's always we dictate the depth chart, and no matter how good you are or who you are on our team, he always says you win your jobs on fall camp. It doesn't matter. Obviously Coy Parrish is going to start for us, but even Coy's got to go solidify his spot in fall camp.
Right.
Go outplay everybody.
He only started 3 games last year, by the way, which is weird, right?
It is weird.
Second team All-American,
It's
first
wild.
team All Big Ten,
It's
3
wild.
starts. But that is kind of how football is now with specialized groupings.
100%.
And, all this stuff. And he had some other stuff going on with return game and all that. So anyway, this total sidebar. But you've basically been preparing yourself as if you're the starter, right?
100%.
Yeah, from the day Max Brosmer probably left to head to the Vikings till now and into the future.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I've been preparing myself, even when he was here, just preparing. You never know when your time's going to come. Like last year, I was making sure I was prepared. So if the opportunity came up, I was ready to take this team and win some games last year. So I feel like I've been preparing for the starters since I was with Max, and it's just carried over to now since I'm stepping into that role. You
got into a few games last year. You had 4 for 5 passing. You had a touchdown on that drive. Maryland, right? Was it Maryland?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Did you play? No, Maryland, you ended up not playing in that game. Because I think they were trying to see about the red shirt, right? They didn't want to burn. They didn't want to get you past 4 games. So it was Rhode Island. You had the touchdown pass. How did that feel that first time to get out there on the field in front of a big crowd and then to have success with the drive?
Yeah, it felt really good. When we got to halftime, I kind of figured I was going to play, and you kind of get that rush, like, I'm about to play my first college game. And then once I got out there, it almost just felt like the same emotion, same mindset as like stepping out there in high school. Like you just get in that locked in zone where you can't really feel anything. You only see the defense really and your guys. Like you're very honed in on what you have to accomplish on that play and your keys and what you're looking for defensively and what I need to do to make this play succeed.
I want to get into what you learned this spring, what you take from it as you head now into, you're in the middle of summer workouts and head into fall camp. But for many Gopher fans, this is really their first chance. I know you and I and Justin Gard were on the radio earlier today as we talk. It's Wednesday. We did some live stuff. But in terms of just people getting to know you, because as a true freshman last year and as the backup quarterback, you're not going to probably get in the spotlight too much. So this is a first chance, really. I'm not saying, hey, here, make a first impression, but what do you want Gopher fans to know about you as a guy, as a person, as a kid, as a man?
Yeah, I'm a big time family guy, big time Christian. Grew up in that world. Very relaxed, chill guy. Like I don't like doing too much. I like getting outside and playing golf in the summer, but besides that, really just getting with my teammates, making sure I'm around them, going out to lunch with them, talking to my coaches, but just very, very chill. I like to play a video game here and there, not too much, but I just kind of like my me time, like being by myself, but also getting around people. I think there's a good balance to that, making sure you're getting your own mental time and what you need for yourself, and then getting around your people and making sure they're good and bringing everybody up around you as well.
Last year, PJ Fleck talked a lot about how Max Brosmer had to take the team and become a leader from day one. I know he took the guys down to the Atlanta area and different things, and some of that now falls on you and has fallen on you, and you took a little trip, right? And did some things. Take me through what that means as a quarterback, particularly one who's younger than some of the guys now you're trying to lead as well, and how that progression has been for you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a very, easy guy to talk to. I feel like guys genuinely just can kind of come talk to me about anything, so it's easy to gravitate towards that kind of guy. And especially the leadership role, developing that is just outworking everybody, making sure you're always in the building. So when people see that, they start to gain respect, and then you get the spring ball. Before spring ball, we went to Atlanta too, and we trained down there. We saw Max down there as well, but then you get the spring ball, and at that time, it's like you just got to go perform, earn that respect from all the new guys. Like they got to see you ball, and then you get through that, and it's just like everyone starts to gravitate towards you as they've seen you play pretty good football, even though it's not necessarily a game, but how you practice is pretty much how you're going to perform in a game if you have the same mindset. So I try to keep that approach and just keep everybody around me close and take all those guys to whatever they want to do and just be that rock for them.
Some leaders, different quarterbacks lead in different ways.
Yeah.
Some lead by example. I'm just going to work hard and people can follow me. Some play well and do that. Some are screamers. Some are hollerers. Some are pat them on the back.
Yeah.
Have you identified yet what's best for you, Drake Lindsey, as a leadership style?
Yeah, I feel like I've developed it a lot, but I feel like I'm a good mix. I feel like I obviously do lead by example. Like if you're a quarterback, you have to lead by example. Like you can't not lead by example and be the starting quarterback. So that's rule number one as a quarterback. You got to lead by example. But then as you develop, you learn what your strengths are. And when the team needs something or we're not living up to the standard, I'm definitely going to say something, but it's not in like a screaming at them way. It's more of like a, hey, let's get this together. Like this isn't us, that kind of way, in a motivating way, inspiring way. I don't think it's right to always just yell and scream at people, because if I'm not doing something right, I feel like I don't always want someone to yell and scream at me. So it's more of just like that partnership and friendship and holding people to the standard more so. So I feel like I have a good mix of the leadership. Just you got to feel the moment and feel what the team needs, and just bring that to the team.
How much and a leader as a quarterback is probably different than any position on the football team, but just in sports in general, there's a different, just because it's such a high profile position. Like to me, I always watch, and the quarterback has to have the firmest grip of the playbook, right? I mean, you not only have to know what you have to do, but you kind of have to know what, for sure, the receivers, maybe the linemen, others, maybe blocking schemes. I mean, you know all those. Maybe you don't have to get real in detail. They work on them. But at the end of the day, if you show a crevice or a crack that you're not sure, the team's going to follow suit. They're not going to be sure.
100%.
How much do you put into, how much time now have you dived into Greg Harbaugh and PJ Fleck's playbook? Matt Simon, of course, helps too, and others. And knowing that, hey, if I don't have a grasp, this is maybe not going to go well.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think when I first got here on campus, that was my number one goal. Coach Nickel, our strength coach, always talks about for the new guys, like earning respect. Number one, know your playbook. And number two, just go have fun and play. Like the second thing is you got to go do it as well. But yeah, the first thing when I got here is I just dove into the playbook with Max, and it was good having that older guy. Like Max knew the playbook in December, like before he even got on campus. He already knew it, so he was there to help me. And my goal was by spring ball my freshman year to know the playbook and to be able to run the offense. And I feel like I did a pretty good job of that as a true freshman, being able to execute and run the second group, which was really good. But yeah, you gotta know everything. Like with how we're required, I gotta know all the pass pro for the O-line. I make all the calls. In the run game, the center does most of it, but I confirm it. So yeah, you gotta know all that stuff. If you don't know what everybody's doing, I mean, it's pretty hard to succeed. And I feel like that's a good part about our offense is we run a really NFL style offense, so it prepares you for the next level.
Yeah.
It sets you up for that NFL stage, which is really, really helpful.
There's some subtle things too, and some of what I see and fans see it might be part of the offense, but if you're lined up, let's say in a shotgun or a pistol or whatever you want to call it, and you're sending guys in motion, and sometimes I think it's just, okay, we're setting the play in motion, but there seems to be urgency at other times where a quarterback's going to say, hey, dude, this is, and then the guy's like, oh, yeah. So part of that, you've got to identify pretty early where the play starts and how it starts, and if a guy's not in the right spot to get in there, because you don't want to burn timeouts and you 100%. Want the play to go.
Yeah.
So that's all part of it, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. I think the biggest thing I've worked on this whole offseason was just managing the line of scrimmage, because as a true freshman, in high school you're not looking at the play clock as much. Like I was getting signals, I was snapping the ball fast. Like you don't really have to manage the line of scrimmage like you do in college. Like in college, it's breaking the huddle, immediately looking at the play clock, and then moving guys around, getting the protection set. Like there's a lot of things you have to do, and each play can be a little faster pace or a little slower pace based on the play clock, my urgency level. And obviously it's nice to always break the huddle and look, and you got about 20, 25 seconds compared to 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Because then you got to be pretty urgent, moving guys around, getting people set. So I think it's a big thing for me is just controlling the line of scrimmage and making the line of scrimmage mine and really owning that part.
Is that a big thing that you guys work on in the summer? Do you go against defense some in these captains' practices or sometimes in team drills where you get a feel for that even after spring balling now?
Yeah, right now, so we have our player practices, so we'll do individual work with the wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. Then we get into versus the scout cards where we're doing run game, doing pass protection, and that's kind of your time to look at the play clock, get all that thing set. And then we have the 7-on-7, and that's a good part of it too, is moving guys around, watching the play clock, making sure the line of scrimmage is set, and getting everybody lined up.
What do you think I'm about to ask you, so that's not if I'll ask you. What do you think your best strengths are right now as a quarterback?
I think my best strengths as a quarterback is obviously bringing everybody together, getting the offense tight, and then as a true quarterback, I think anticipation, accuracy, timing, my rhythm. I think I've developed a really good under center action, doing the run action with the running backs, and I think in terms of just playing on time, I feel like I've develop that strength.
I asked you this when we did the radio interview earlier with Justin Gard, and we were on the radio. There are different code words, and there's new fads isn't the right word, but there's new terminology. It seems like about every 6 or 7 years, new things. I remember when Aaron Rodgers first came in, and maybe it happened way before, but in my mind, that was the first guy I heard people regularly talk about. Throw a guy open, on time, on target, all that stuff. And then people followed suit and other guys got labeled that. Lately, it seems that one of the new fancy vocab words is shaping the football.
Yeah.
And when I hear the Gophers coaches talk about you, they bring that up almost all the time, that we love how he shapes the football, which is probably throwing a guy open or whatever. It was new vernacular. What does that mean for you, and why are you good at it?
Yeah, I feel shaping the football for me is playing on time and playing with anticipation. Like someone's running an out-breaking route or any type of route and you throw it early, you got to shape it, which means put some touch on it, put it where your guy can only go get it, throw it away from defenders, and just make your guy right. Even if your wide receiver's not always, because your wide receiver's not always going to be right. People are going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. So when I'm on time and maybe that guy slips out of his break and I put a little touch on it, he can still recover and go make a play on it. Same thing as if I throw it a little late, sometimes I don't anticipate the throw. They're going to be there to pick me up and make a play for me.
And how much do you have to consider the defense, too, in shaping the ball where – awesome, let's put a little air under it so my guy gets it, but that also gives the defender maybe an extra step. Yeah. So how much are you cognizant of what the defense is doing when shaping the football?
Yeah. I think it all depends on what the defense is doing. Like if I'm getting off coverage, I think that's when you have a little more time to shape it. But if the guy's more attached to his hip, then it's more of right when he's about to get out of his break, put a little more zip on it and throw it where he can go get it, whether that's throwing him down away from the DB or if he's running higher, put a little more touch on it and let him go run under it. I think it's all is based off the defense, where they are and throwing the ball away from them and how hard do I have to throw it or how hard do I not have to throw it. If I don't have to throw it hard and I can put touch on it, that's what I want to do because it helps my wide receivers. But if it's tight coverage, you got to put some zip on it.
Yeah, and we hear the coaches talk about that. They love your arm strength as well. Seems like a pretty good cannon. You comfortable with making just about every throw on the tree?
Yeah, 100%. We have some challenging throws in our offense, and it was really cool this spring. Harbaugh was testing me. Every week he's adding something new in spring and really adding it in the winter so we could do it in the spring. And every install he's adding something more challenging for me and seeing if I can handle it. And it was really awesome to be able to handle those challenges and keep it going.
What would you give yourself a letter grade for the spring?
I feel like that's a hard thing to do because you always want to be better. But
were you satisfied though?
Oh yeah. I thought I had a really really good spring. Like coming into spring, it was more just execute, play at a high level, lead the team, make people around me better, and I feel like I genuinely did a really really good job of that. But there's always room for improvement, and never stopping and just keep going.
as we're in the summer now, I assume, are you taking a summer class?
Yes, I am.
Most of the guys do. That helps, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get a little more free time. But you're in the playbook. You're doing 7-on-7s. You're doing captain's practices. There is some team drills, weight room stuff. Yep. I heard you mention golf. We know your golfing background. So is there some therapy in that just to get away from football for 3 or 4 hours and hit the links with buddies and
100%.
Have some fun?
Yeah, it's I feel like golf for me is definitely like a getting away from everything, getting away from the world, putting my phone down, just getting out there on the course with my buddies and having a good time. But it's also very competitive for me, and I like that part of not letting anyone beat me. I really like the competitive side of it too, but it's definitely the mental side for me. Like it's another way to work myself mentally, because it's a challenging sport, and it's a lot like football, and it's a lot like quarterback, with every single shot's different, and like every single throw's different, every single play's different. So going through that mindset with golf and just attempting to get better every single time I go play golf is the fun part, just like in football.
Yeah, it's funny. I hadn't thought of it until just now. You mentioned the quarterback and the golf are kind of the same, because we talk about shaping the football and throwing.
Yeah.
Golfers shape the shot all the time, right?
Yeah.
There's some. I'm not saying it's the exact same motion, obviously, but there's some thinking. The thought process is similar, I suppose.
1,000%. Like if you hit it in the rough and you got to go under a tree, then you gotta punch it out. If you gotta go over a tree, you gotta throw it up. And then if you're in the fairway, you just get to play how you want. So I feel like that's how a quarterback is. Sometimes you gotta throw around a D lineman on screens, throw it over a D lineman on screens, put touch on it over the nickel to get it out to the sideline. Like every throw is so different. Just like golf, every shot can be so much different.
And for you mentioned it's competitive, but you're pretty good. You're not like, hey, let's go break 90 guy like me or break 100 guy like me. You're like, if you're not breaking 80, you're not real thrilled, right?
Yeah. If I shoot maybe like low 80s, I'm not upset, but I genuinely, like, if I break 80, I'm pretty happy with that day.
That's a good round.
It's a good round.
Yeah.
Like if I break 80, I'm really happy.
But if you're going like 94 like me, you're pissed off.
Oh yeah. If I shot a 94, I'd be really upset. I'd probably take a couple weeks off. Probably need some time off.
See, that'd be a nice score for me. So you and I probably should golf. Is there anybody on the team that can beat you?
I have not lost yet. The one person, honestly, that's really good. We played in like tournaments, a few tournaments together, like events. But Jack Desano, one of our tight ends, is a really, really good golfer. He's around like me. He's a high 70s, low 80s guy. I haven't played a one-on-one with him, honestly, but I played some like 2v2 scrambles against him, and I did win in the 2v2 scramble against him, but it's a little different one-on-one. But Coy is pretty good. He shoots like mid-80s, low 80s.
Yeah.
So he's pretty good.
For most college quarterbacks, my hunch is that if I would ask them when you were 12 years old, what did you want to be? And most would probably say, I want to be a quarterback or I want to play college football. You had that thought, but you were more in, I want to be a golfer, right?
Yeah, I thought I was gonna win the Masters. that was my goal. And then as I got older, all the practicing with golf by yourself, I'm an outgoing guy. So when I got to about 14, 15, it was more of like I want to play in a team sport and get around people. And I like relying on myself in golf, but I like having to lean on people as well, and them leaning on me to go make a big time play and have each other's back, So I started leaning towards football, and then here I am now. So
you, at that age, though, also, right, had a growth spurt, and all of a sudden you became, my arm's pretty good. I can move pretty well, and it fits. If you're still 5'8", 160, you might be on the men's golf team here instead, right?
I would definitely be playing golf. I was 5'8", 160.
But the growth spurt basically then got you into where, okay, now football's here. So you're an 8th grader, you get into 9th grade, you're competing for the varsity spot.
Yeah, they brought me up to practice with them. And I wouldn't say like I was necessarily going to go start on the varsity team, but it was more like, let's see what he can do. And I was practicing well with him, and then I was starting on the freshman team, and then it was more like slingshotting me into having a good freshman year, and then sophomore year probably going to get up and play if the injury didn't happen. But the injury happened, and then
It was a basketball injury.
Yeah, basketball injury.
Summertime. You're just playing for fun.
Yeah.
On a travel team, right?
A travel team, yeah.
Take me through that and what that struggle was like then.
Yeah, so I get to the tournament, and the first half I had like 10 points, and I did a pretty cool layup. I almost got up to the rim, and my coach kind of messed with me like, you should try and dunk that. And I was like, you're right. I could maybe do it. So then halftime layup lines, I'm like, let me see how I'm feeling. And I go up to dunk it, and it felt like I slipped. like slipped on water, but it was more so just my knee gave out and I tore my patellar tendon, and it was pretty wild. It was like a month and a half before football season.
And that's worse than doing an ACL, right?
Yeah, it's more so. I think it's easier to come back and be yourself again with the patellar tendon because it's a bigger tendon.
Yeah,
it's harder to tear.
Yeah, and that's up by the knee.
Yeah,
not to be confused with the Achilles, which is another bummer. So, you don't want ever to have that.
Yeah,
but yeah. You fix it, but you're like surgery. 4 weeks? Did you say that you were 4 months that you were?
I couldn't walk for 8 weeks, then it was 10 months of PT, physical therapy.
And then, so you return from that, and now you're
June
raring to go, and you have to have a nice junior season, right? To really get on the recruiting web page, whatever you want to call it, radar.
Yeah, so going into my sophomore year, I just got back healthy like in June or July. And there was a senior that was going to play. He had played the last year and done solid, and he had already gone through spring ball, and I didn't really get to do much of that because of my knee. So it was already kind of solidified like I wasn't really going to play. Like I was a little rusty coming off my knee. Hadn't played football in really 2 years since 8th grade. So I just played junior varsity that year. We did good in junior varsity, but obviously it's not varsity. And then after that season, I just got really mentally locked in and decided I wanted to make this thing happen. And had a really good junior year and then started picking up some offers.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the recruitment here in a second, but I do want to mention a quick sponsor of the podcast. It's Affinity Plus, your local credit union, proudly serving Minnesota since 1930. If you're a current Gopher student or a proud Gopher alum, that makes you eligible to join this financial that wants to build a meaningful banking relationship and put you first. You can meet with a local employee at any of their branches statewide, including right off campus in Minneapolis. You can learn more and find other ways to connect by going to their webpage. It's affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. People-centered banking, perfect for Gophers. Drake Lindsey is our guest. We're getting to know him a little bit better as we are about to embark on fall camp. Next week, he and I and several others will be in Las Vegas for the annual Big Ten Football Media Day. First time it's ever been in Las Vegas. And Drake is starting now to get an opportunity to let us get to know him a little bit. You mentioned golf helps the mental part of it. I know Max Brosmer was a big chess player, and he talked about that helped him as a thinking man. One, do you play chess, or do you consider golf kind of like your chess in that it gets the mind and the body triggered?
Yeah, I do not play chess. Max was attempting to help me, but it was kind of late. It started in season, and we were so busy, so it didn't get too much on that. But yeah, golf is 100% that for me. I love playing golf. Like when I go home, I'm always playing golf. It's definitely my getaway time and keeps me super competitive on the course. Like if I lose to somebody, I'll be pretty upset. I don't like, unless it's somebody that's really, really good, like playing college golf or shooting scratch or under par. It's like if they're around me, I don't really want to lose. And it's definitely my chess during the summer, and it gets my mind right for the season. So
next week, the Vikings start training camp. Max Brosmer's part of that.
Yeah.
He got, a street free agent, but got a nice signing bonus. He, I think, is going to be on that team, and would love him to be on the active roster, but I would think at a minimum he's going to be on that practice squad.
For sure.
He's a good fit, smart kid, had a great year. What was the biggest takeaway for you? I joked you guys were kind of attached at the hip, which was by design for you, I'm sure. Like you wanted to be a sponge there. What were a few of the big things you took from him that you will implement as part of your approach here as the Gopher quarterback?
Yeah, I think when I first got here, I obviously thought he was a really, really, really good quarterback. And we got the spring ball, and he was just up and down, like it was his first time as a Big Ten starter going into the year. And spring ball was up and down for him. But, he was, and I was having a good spring, but it was really, really big for me to see, like, when he'd have a bad practice, he was the same Max. When he had a good practice, he was the same Max. He didn't change based off how practice was going, how things out of football were going. Like if he needed to talk, obviously, and have a real heart-to-heart, he'd have it. But he was always the same guy inside the building, which is what you want. Like you don't want to come into office and you're starting quarterback, you're the backup, and he obviously can belittle you if he wants. You're the backup, and you come in and he's being that kind of guy that's kind of just mean to you. And it was never like that. We respected each other, and we respected the work that we put in together, but he was always the same. saying Max Brosmer every single day. That was definitely the number one thing I took away, is not letting like the circumstance dictate my behavior, like not letting one practice or one game dictate how I'm going to feel as a person or how I'm going to lead this team. That was probably the biggest, and then just the preparation and mental work he put in every single day to get ready. Like he talked to me after the season about it, and he was like, you can't just be, if you want to be really, really good, you can't just put the average work in. Like you got to put above and beyond. Like you got to be in the facility nonstop. You got to put things away, like not do other things as much if you want to take this a long way.
Right.
You know, and he's took advantage of every opportunity he's got, and there's a reason he has, because of all the work he puts in. You know, like there was one day, it was Penn State week. We left the facility at like 7 o'clock, and the coaches would stay till like 10 or 11. And we have early morning practice the next day. And Harbaugh FaceTimed me and Max at like 9 o'clock and told us to come to the facility. So I drove me and Max over to the facility like 9 o'clock, and we went over all the third down stuff till like 10. And that was like one of those moments when I was just with Max, me and him, and we were just having like really deep conversations after we left. And it was really cool to see, because it was like we were going into a really awesome week of getting the opportunity to play Penn State, who was like I think top 6 or top 5 team in the country.
Right.
And he was super excited, and it was one of the least nervous games I've seen him play, because like in his mind and how my mind was kind of thinking is like, we have nothing to lose. And it was a big opportunity for him to just go play well, and I thought he had a really good game, even though the outcome wasn't what we wanted. It was a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, it was right there, right?
Yeah.
The game was there for the potential taking, and definitely he played well in that game. It's interesting you mentioned the spring, because I remember in the spring going to practice early, and we had heard about Max Brosmer. We knew he threw for all those yards at the FCS level, so then you're wondering, does it translate? Mm-hmm. And there were a couple of early practices where, that was an interception. Ooh, that was another interception. And I think everyone was, okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He's got a track record.
Yeah.
And by the end of spring, he was pretty good. But and he then later explained it, like he had to figure out going against defensive backs that had Big Ten skills where he could fit a ball and not. And that's the time to make the mistake is in March or April, let's see if I can fit it here. And then it's like, that I can. And then, that one's an interception. So in September and October, I'm not going to make that throw.
100%.
Did you have some of that this spring too? Just to because you're going, you had the buffer year, but you're going from high school to college to the Big Ten here. He came from New Hampshire, and so there's a transition for both. And does the game translate? So how much of that did you do in terms of testing and kind of do some on-field lab work, so to speak, this spring?
Yeah. I think I got to see a lot of it last year with Max and talk about a lot of things with him and witness him make the mistakes. And I think the biggest thing that he'd always tell me is, watch me make this mistake so you don't have to make the same ones I made, which was a great experience, because I feel like I didn't go through that much this spring, because I really learned from the things he did wrong and the things he did right and applied them to my game, because everyone has flaws, and I still have flaws. Everybody does. But it's how much of them can you eliminate to make yourself better? But no, I don't feel like I had too much of that. But then once we got to last year's fall camp, Max was rolling. Like you could really see he was on time, and he had a great fall camp. So you could really see some people just take a little more time to settle in than others. I feel like I settled in really quickly to college, because, my best friend plays football at Oklahoma, and he's 2 years older than me. And he started at Arkansas a couple years ago, and I was a junior in high school, throwing with him and all the Arkansas guys. So I got to kind of experience like what that was like. Like we would do one-on-ones, we'd do different things. So I got to kind of see what the college speed was like at a younger age in high school, and got to experience that, which I feel like really helped me once I got here. And then you and Max have, different body, different physique, different arm strength. Although I think Max was kind of underappreciated with how his mid-range zip on the ball was ridiculously good. And I think the scouting combine showed that with the RPMs and all that stuff that they can now measure with radar, however they do it. But that said, how did you have to also learn? You watch Max, but you have different skill sets. I mean, you're both good quarterbacks, but to say, okay, my game, I got to understand what he's doing, but if that's me, it might be a different throw, right? Yeah,
or shaping it different, or a different decision.
I think inside like 20 yards, intermediate to the little deeper like play action stuff, I really liked his game. Like watching his anticipation, all that stuff. Like, he played super on time, which a lot of people underappreciate playing on time. He was really good at that. I feel like the difference, I mean, the deep ball difference, like he shaped it good. He threw a really good deep ball, and that's one thing I just want to be really explosive this year and be able to throw the deep ball at a very high level and make my receiver right. I think that's one of my strong suits is the deep ball, and I feel like I'm really good in the intermediate accuracy and with the touch and stuff, but I think I can utilize the deep ball this year as well.
And now you're talking my language. Forever I've been a believer in at least a couple times a game, even if it's not open, just send something deep.
Take a shot.
And even if it's 10 yards by everybody, I think that defensive back at some point in the game has to have his throat just drop to his heart.
100%.
Oh, man. Then because if you get in this rut, and I'm not saying Max did this because he did have some deep balls, but there are teams that you get in this rut, you're only throwing the ball 6 or 8 or 9 yards. Pretty much they settle in. They're going to only have to defend 12 yards.
Yep.
But if once or twice a game, and then, like you say, okay, now you hit it or you get an interference and even if it's long enough, even if you throw a pick, it's a punt, right? I mean, so barring a long return. So I'm a believer in a couple times a game, just throw it for the sake of throwing it, right?
Yeah, I probably threw, honestly, in high school, like 10 a game. So that's a little unrealistic, but I do like throwing the deep ball and letting that thing fly. So we'll see what opportunities arise this year.
If you were to warm up and get a good warm up and you got a good sweat going, what's your how far can you throw the football?
I think if everything worked out and it came out of my hand really good, I would say around 70.
Wow. And you don't want to always do that because that's going to put some strain on your arm. I'm not saying you go out and do that. But in a game situation, how comfortable are you throwing the deep ball? How far can you, are you saying, if it's open, I can hit him?
Yeah, I think when you're in the game, I feel like 70 is really not really coming into play unless it's a busted play and you're scrambling around and someone's open late and you just let it go. But playing on time and throwing a post with a 3 and a hitch, I mean, you're not going to throw it 70 yards. I mean, you're probably going to get it out there to 50 or 55 yards and put some touch on it and let that guy run. But I don't think there's much situations where, like, even watching, Pat Mahomes throws at 85, 90 yards. I mean, he has a crazy arm. Josh Allen as well. And you're not really seeing them just throw it as hard as they can. It's more so just playing on time and throwing it 50, 55 or even 45 and just putting enough touch on it to let your guy get under it.
Right. All right, so your receiving core, Daniel Jackson is now gone. Elijah Spencer is now gone. So there's a few returners, a few new guys, a couple of transfers.
Yeah.
Take me through who are the guys you're feeling good about throwing the football to this fall?
Yeah. I mean, it's really wild. I think we have a super deep wide receiver room, and I mean, a lot of coaches are saying it's the deepest one they've ever seen. Starting with Lemecki coming back, it's awesome to have him, an experienced guy in the room, knows the playbook, can help the other guys. Really excited about Javon Tracy from Miami of Ohio, Logan Loya from UCLA. Like, those guys are super experienced, no ball. 2 of my close friends on the team. And really, it gets really deep. Like, Christian Driver is super explosive, makes a lot of plays. Jalen Smith is going to be an absolute freak show for us. Like, he's really, really good, developed like crazy. Kendrick Lanier has been making a ton of plays. Malachi Coleman's explosive. There is a ton of guys that are making plays in that room.
And that's the danger when I ask, because you're inevitably will fit. I know, Hayes is probably in that mix, right? I mean, there's guys that you can
100%.
And then the tight end becomes a factor. Jamison Gears had a nice year last year.
Yep.
And now as he's heading into this next season, there's a chance, again, all developing in terms of how the play develops, but he can be a weapon, right?
Yeah, I mean.
And others in that position.
Yeah, our tight ends are filthy. I mean, Jamison's a unit. Like, he's really, really complete player, can block, can get out in the pass game. And then, I mean, Drew Bibbers really, really, made a big impression on me.
Man, I mean, he made 2 catches in spring that are as good as catches you're ever going to see. Anybody, receiver, wide receiver, I don't care. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He moves at a really, really good level for a tight end. He's about 6'5", 6'4", 250 pounds, but man, he can move, and how he runs routes is very good for a quarterback, and I'm very excited to see what he'll do for us this year.
Yeah. I want to ask you about this. So you get the Phil Steele magazines or the Athlon Sports or whatever, preseason stuff. Most of them are online now as opposed to the actual, like when I was your age, you had to go to a stand and buy it or what have you, and I used to just gobble those up, and I love to read. So you see the Gophers and here's a key guy to watch on defense and offense, and here's their predicted over-under, all this stuff. And usually in most of them for this year, it says biggest question mark, or they're going to be good if, and it says Drake Lindsey.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a question of your skill. People know you can throw. You've got a track record. You won a state high school championship that people have seen your arm. It's a question of he's only played in a couple of games. Is he ready to tackle Big Ten defenses?
For sure.
How comfortable are you in this now? And if that is the question mark, how ready are you to answer it?
Yeah, I'm super ready. I feel like I've got to watch for a year and a half now of what I need to do to be successful. I got to watch Max for a year and got to learn and see what I want to do to make this team a college football playoff team. And I'm fully confident in my game. You know, me and Coach Harbaugh and all the coaches have spent hours and hours of time together to see what we can do to make this team as successful as possible. And getting around the guys, you know, this team is really, really connected. You know, it's challenging to bring in transfers and be really close with them, and everybody's just bonded, and you don't see that a lot. And I think we genuinely have a really, really special team, and I'm excited for us to be able to showcase that in August 28th against Buffalo.
Yeah, that's the season opener for sure. Do you set personal goals?
I mean, yeah.
And will you keep those to yourself, or do you share them?
Yeah, I think I obviously do have personal goals. I'm a very big vision guy. I have a personal massage guy, and when I get my massages, I kind of use my time to meditate, and we do a lot of breathing techniques and stuff like that. And I genuinely, during that time, try to focus on all positive things and see myself successful and our team successful and do all that. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have personal goals, but those are more to myself and my family. I think it's more of a team goal that I'll put out there. I mean, obviously our team goal is go to college football playoff and go 1-0 every single week, and that 1-0 season, 1-0 championship season starts against Buffalo.
Yeah, Thursday the 28th. One more quick sponsor, and then you mentioned you were a family guy, so I want to ask you a little about your family. Yeah. When we after I mentioned another one of our sponsors, OnX Fish from OnX Maps. Well, summer is here, and that means it's time to get on the water, get in the boat, and go fishing. So let OnX Fish help you find the next best bite. It's the Fish app offering the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your success. Use the Fish app to find new places to fish. You can sort by lake, species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potential. OnX Fish also shows you hot spots, lake-by-lake regulations, public and private land ownership info, and more. Download OnX Fish at the App Store or go online, onxmaps.com/fish, to get more info about the app that is changing the game, and you can try it for free for 7 days. It's OnX Fish. Well, being from Arkansas, there's a lot of good fishing. I know you're a golfer, but do you get out on the water and fish too?
Every now and then. Probably like once every couple of weeks when I was back home in high school.
Yeah, but, nice. Very good. All right.
My dad hunts a lot. He's a big hunter.
Well, they have the OnX Hunt app as well, which is big. So maybe that's something we can talk your dad into. Your dad played football at Arkansas. Your uncles all played football at Arkansas. Your sister played volleyball at Arkansas. You're from Fayetteville. I think you told us earlier when JG and I were interviewing on the radio that your high school was like 3 blocks from the campus, maybe something like that. So you're tied in. Tell me about your family. Your grandpa played for the Vikings, right?
Yeah, he did.
Ty Jim was a Viking for 7 or 8 seasons. He played at Arkansas. Yep. Had you been to Minnesota before you came on your visit?
Yeah, I'd been a few times to a few Vikings games.
Gotcha.
So
when he would come back. Yeah. So you were familiar with that. Not that was the top priority or a reason to come here, but did you think that there was some connection there that when the Gophers offered that you had some familiarity with Minnesota, that was part of this?
Yeah, you know, they didn't even know my grandfather played for him at first until I told him. But yeah, I did. You know, I actually came as wild. I was looking back at my phone not too long ago about some old photos, and I came to the playoff game, the divisional against the Giants when they lost.
Oh yeah,
and I was like
made Daniel Jones about $190 million, right?
And it was about 3 months before I got offered from Minnesota, and I remember thinking when I was like at this game, I was like, wow, I wonder what it's like living in Minnesota. And then a year later, I'm living in Minnesota, which is so wild to think. But no, it's really awesome. Yeah, my whole family really went to Arkansas. My sister played basketball there.
Or did I say volleyball?
Yeah, basketball.
Yeah, basketball there, yes.
And then I have a cousin who runs track there right now. does the long jump and triple jump. He's doing a great job. And then my cousin played quarterback at Arkansas about 6 years ago. And then everybody else's dad played football. Two of my uncles, one played quarterback there, one played tight end. Grandfather played running back. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a deep connection in Arkansas, and you live right there. So take me back. You mentioned the junior year kind of put you on the radar. Colorado State. Who else was kind of in the mix before your first Power 5 offer, which was Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean Tulsa, Colorado State, UAB. I had some other offers, but those were the only three I was really looking at because Tulsa was close to home, and I was just kind of looking at those three.
Yeah, and then Minnesota gets involved. They liked your tape, and then there was some uniqueness to it. Greg Harbaugh, the offensive coordinator, said, hey, we'd like to see you in person. We love your tape. Come up, and if we like what we see, we'll offer you.
Yeah.
And then just a few hours later, what happened?
He called me and told me to talk to me and my mom, and then he offered me, which was really exciting. Got the juices flowing for sure.
Yeah. So from that point, take me through the rest of the recruitment and what sold you on being a Gopher.
Yeah, so I started obviously picking up some steam after that. Like some bigger schools came in, started watching me practice. And then after that, it was Coach Harbaugh came into one of my practices, really liked what he saw, and was like, hey, I want you to come up this weekend, and if you like it, let's see how you feel. Came up on the visit, and they weren't even saying anything about committing. And then me and Coach Harbaugh went around the facility, looked around, talked to Coach Fleck. We were going to dinner, and he was driving me, and I was like, hey, I'm going to commit. And I told him, he was like, wow, already? I didn't think you were going to do it that fast. I was like, yeah, this feels like home. So we didn't tell Fleck, though. Didn't tell anybody. It was between me and him. And then the next day, I went into Coach Fleck's office alone, and I wanted to talk to Coach Fleck one-on-one and commit. And my family was outside, and then I told him I was going to be a Gopher, and he was like, "You're 100%? You're going to stay? You're going to be committed?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a Gopher." And then we got all hyped up, and then my parents walked in, family was all teared up and stuff, and it was a great moment.
Yeah, and they've been behind you here, as you mentioned. You're a family guy. Now I'm going to ask you this as we slide into the Arkansas part of it. Mm-hmm. They did not show much interest with all the family connections.
Yeah.
And you were sticking firm, and then late in the process. There was a coaching change on the offensive staff, and there was a lot of rumblings like, uh-oh, what's going to happen? Walk me through all of that and how much fuel some of that now provides for you.
Yeah. I remember it was we had won our semifinal playoff game, and then Bobby Petrino got hired as the OC, and he had previously coached at Arkansas Ryan Mallett, who was kind of similar to my play style.
Yep.
Big arm, tall. He played in the NFL for 8 years. And I remember talking to my coach because my head coach played for Bobby Petrino, Casey Dick, at Arkansas. Started for 4 years for him. And I remember him telling me, hey, Arkansas is they're going to come after you now because I know Bobby likes you. And I was like, all right, we'll just see what happens.
And he had been at Missouri State.
Yeah, he had been to Missouri State as a head coach, and then Coach Lamar Jackson at Louisville and stuff. So it was just a lot of just talk. It started building up on Twitter. And obviously I was expecting it. I was like, oh, they're probably going to offer me now. And then I didn't really hear anything. I had heard after the fact that Bobby really wanted me there. Things just didn't really work out with the whole staff. I don't think the whole staff was sold on me starting from the top. So it was just a blessing in disguise that I ended up in Minnesota.
And here you are, and some motivation then, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you're ready to...
Yeah, a lot of motivation from that. It's I want to be able to go back home and, everyone knows what they could have had. So and obviously, not in any disrespectful way, I love Arkansas, and I'll always love that state and love the people there. It's just, I'm very fortunate Minnesota gave me the opportunity.
Yeah. PJ Fleck was, I think we were either doing the coaches show or I believe it was near the end of the season. You had won the state championship. And so I think we're talking in the commercial break. And he was just like, this kid's good, man. I mean, man. And then he said, we went down there. And I think the Arkansas stuff was kind of floating around. I'm like, you're going to keep him? He was like, I hope so. I mean, this kid's going to be so good. He's like, his mom and dad invited me and Greg Harbaugh and Matt Simon to sit with them for the championship game. So I think we're pretty good. I said, had you ever done that before? He goes, because I've been to a lot of championship games, but have never sat with a crew. He goes, I've been on the sideline and talked to a kid, and whatever's allowed. I don't know what all the rules are and when you can talk or whatever. But he's like, I've never done that, and he goes, I feel pretty good about it now.
Yeah.
So how about that? Your parents say,
cool.
Hey, come and sit with us.
Yeah, my parents were fully sold on Minnesota. Like, even if Arkansas would have came back, they would have told me no. Because they knew I was really wanted at Minnesota. But no, it was awesome. Like at the beginning of the game, first quarter, he was on the field, and I remember one time like we did like a fake play where I'm clapping, and there's not even a play. We're just freezing them. And I look back to my offense coordinator for the play, and I see Coach Fleck like we're on like the 20-yard line going in to score, and he's like on like the 40-yard line, the opposite 40, like on the field, like 5 yards on the field, like squatting down. And I see him out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like.
You mean he's on the field?
On the field.
Not like on the sideline?
On the field.
On the field?
On the field.
Oh, wow.
Like 5 yards under. I'm like, oh, God, that's Coach Fleck. And then we ended up just handing the ball off, and I was kind of laughing after. I was like, I'm literally in a state championship game, and my future head coach is just on the field, like, analyzing.
He's getting a real scout
here. And then and he was moving around the field, and then after the game, I was like, you were on the field? He was like, I got to get every angle. Got to watch every angle.
It sounds like him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I got to see.
It was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's pretty good. So you were at the end of the day, you weren't going to come off the commitment, even though everyone up here was worried about it.
Yeah, I was 100% locked in. Even if Arkansas came with whatever they wanted to offer, it wasn't going to be real to me after having me in their backyard for that whole time, and being able from the beginning. If they wanted to take me, it was just I had felt really wanted here, and I think you got to go where you're wanted, not always where you want to be. And at that point, I obviously wanted to be at Minnesota, but from the beginning, obviously, I really wasn't thinking about Minnesota until they came at me. So I'm very fortunate, though.
Last one for you, because at the end of the previous season, so a little over a year ago, when the Gophers brought in Max Brosmer. It was pretty clear. They told Max, and PJ said it was the only time in his career he's done this, where, Max, you're going to be coming in. We need you for a year. You're going to be the starter from day one. There is not a competition. You got to get this stuff. This time around, this year, now he hasn't named you the starter yet, and I know he wants to keep the competition and all that stuff going. That said, now he brought in a couple of transfers. One only lasted for spring ball. There's a new one coming in now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call those guys that were like Max Brosmer, had thrown for 11,000 yards
100%.
or a star. Does that give you some confidence that they have confidence in you, that they didn't say, look, we have a pretty good team here. We think we can contend, like you said, for some special things.
Yeah.
We got to let's go get a guy that started 30 games somewhere.
Yeah.
Even if it's an FCS guy or some guy that's in the MAC. Indiana got a guy from the MAC and went to the playoffs. They said, no, we like this guy.
Yeah, no, it was a huge, they told me after the season, we're going to get somebody that's played a little bit, but almost more for an older guy to still be able to teach you things and push you to be better. And it was very, felt very good, because there were some higher names that wanted to come to Minnesota because what Max had done as a transfer. So no, there was definitely some high names that we declined, and it felt really good to know the coaches believe in me and believe in me leading this team.
Is it? Do you feel pressure, or how do you feel? How do you feel about going into this year as now the guy that's going to be taking snaps?
Yeah, 100%. I think there's always pressure. It's just how you handle the pressure. Like I talked earlier in the media, like obviously you feel the pressure, but it's how you handle it. I don't feel like I let the pressure get too much to me. At the beginning you might feel it a little in January, February when people are looking at you, but you start getting used to that role and falling in love with the process and just going day by day, like all the eyes are always on you, that at quarterback, but you gotta let the pressure handle itself and just go play ball.
Now it's just put in the work and wait for game one.
100%.
Well, good to see you.
Yes,
Great
sir.
to get to know you. This is kind of the first introduction that Gopher fans will get a good in-depth. I told you 30 minutes. We're at 50, so that means
awesome.
It's going good.
Really good.
I hope I didn't make you late for a meeting.
No. We were all good, boss. Appreciate
Awesome
you.
stuff. It
Yes,
was
sir.
good, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week in Vegas for Media Day and then fall camp right around the corner.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. He is Drake Lindsey, Gopher quarterback. It's episode 179.
My thanks to Golden Gopher quarterback Drake Lindsey for spending some time with me on this week's Go Gopher podcast. It was fun getting to know him and to be able to introduce him to you, our Gopher fan base, through the podcast this week. Episode 179 is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. We're also part partnered with Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, a locally member-owned full-service financial invested in you. You can learn more at affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. That's affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. Affinity Plus, great products, support, and people. OnX Fish also sponsors our show. Happy fishing. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and please be sure to subscribe to the Go Gopher Podcast right now. It's absolutely free to listen and absolutely free to subscribe. And please share the link to the podcast with others so they can subscribe and listen as well. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please let us know with some positive feedback on your social media channels. We'll talk again next week.